So if you're someone that is like, I don't like dlss anyways, 30 opponents, it's gonna be interesting. So this is gonna be my first experience with the game, playing on a controller with no dead zone. Let's drive. With so many cars, I might have killed the FPS. Let's actually do no music at first, just to hear the sound and everything. Hey guys, Kuru here. Check out Instant Gaming for cheap game keys. Click the link in the description below. I mean, I'm above 60 FPS with over 30 cars on the track. This is not bad. Oh, this is a mess. Holy shit. I only have 2 laps. You know the 1-lap wonders? Let's see if we can do a 2-lap wonder. Clean start. I mean, those guys just slapped the start so hard. So, if someone is wondering, can you play this on controller? Yes. But I think more important is that you can play it well on a controller. At least, you know, one of the slower cars definitely works. We're gonna try some faster cars too, but playing this on a controller right now. Golf is better. Dude, I actually might have a chance. You know, one thing I might change about the controller is the linearity, so that it actually doesn't take that long to turn the wheel. It might be different when you have a sports car rather than a Golf. Let's try it right now. Let me play around with the controller settings after this race. Press menu. Okay, let's start on the controller. Hey, not bad considering we started in 31st. That camera is probably too far away. This guy just doesn't drive. Then fucks everyone up in the process. Especially like all these settings. If you don't really know what they're doing, it's kind of hard to figure out like a setting that is good. Probably better inside the car to see how the wheel reacts. With everything set to 0, it was unhinged, but not in a good way. Yeah, I think this is pretty good now. Like, I want the wheel to turn fast enough, but not like 0 resistance. I mean, it's a simulator, so it lets you set that too, even to unrealistic values. I wonder how much work that would be to only allow realistic settings for each car. Yeah, this feels pretty good. But at least now we get a little bit more insight in the control options. I'm pretty sure you will be able to do exactly the same things and more when the game is fully released. Like if you could do it in Assetto Cars, I'm pretty sure you will do it in Evo as well, eventually. But I decided the full release is in fall, so you probably have half a year to see the development of the game. But you can get your hands on it already, right? If you want to get a feel for the game. Whoa, don't touch him. Revenge! Some best positions, whoa. You can do that too. You can tune a few settings. So you can change the tire pressure right now. I don't think the electronics can be changed on this car at least. You can change the fuel strategy. Maybe on a different car. Let's try another one. Maybe we can tune more on a faster car. It is actually pretty good on controller. I'm messing around with it right now, just to see which settings could be good. They do have some default settings. Stability control could be fun. No stability control. Oh, it's only 27 opponents here. So slightly bigger track, slightly less cars for some reason. The best thing about getting the game right now is probably that the prices are only gonna increase. Oh yeah, so and I take it back. It was just the Golf itself that didn't have those options. So in a race car, full tuning available. Let's give it a try, I guess. I don't even see the track anymore. There's so many cars. Does the game not have ABS by default? I should have ABS. Don't think I do, man. At least if I fully slam the brakes. I do feel the lockup. Let's try 90% brakes.
How's your car running?
Definitely gonna be an interesting journey to find like your optimized controller settings if you decide to play on a controller. But the same is true for a wheel. Doesn't matter if you're a controller or a wheel. You're gonna have to dial in the settings to a point where you feel confident about the controls in the car. Let's see what the replay looks like. Game drops you. Can track the UI elements around. True. Okay, I think this is very bare bones. You do get a TV camera and that's it. The other cameras are with keyboard shortcuts. Ah, would have been nice if that is on the screen so you just know that it's there. It's pretty massive, dude. But hey, we can easily hold the 90 FPS even though we have a full grid here. I had 28 cars on Imola. You curious what dlss looks like in comparison? Sure. Turn on the extra graphics. Wonder if they're gonna update like the better DLSS mode in the future. Whoops. True, if DLSS is on, I can't use FXAA. Let's see if we have any ghosting behind the car with DLSS. So the sharpness from the screen is definitely reduced. Holy crap. I think DLSS by itself creates a motion blur effect. Like adding additional motion blur is silly. At that point, I think I would use FXAA and try to combine it with motion blur. This thing is hard to drive. Either I need to brake earlier, or I'm just not having the correct brake pressure. The more annoying thing for me was I wanted to test a wheel that is a little bit off-brand, not something super well known. It was a Camus, and it wasn't immediately supported, sadly. I actually wanted to skip the controller this time. Amount of radial blur. I honestly always turn off motion blur, so I don't really know what those settings do. You don't see any difference. Same thing here. I mean, the moment I turned on FXAA, a lot of the over-sharpened details disappeared, which is good, and it also removed the jaggies. But I'm not really seeing motion blur doing much. We could try to max out the motion blur. What do I think about the DLSS 4 in the new series? I have to test it myself. You know, supposedly it's better. But unless I see it with my own eyes, I can't really tell if it's better or not, you know? As a sim race, I wouldn't recommend motion blur. Yeah, me neither, but people want to see it, so... I guess as long as I'm in the car, you should be able to see the FPS counter, no problem. It's just when I'm outside of the car that you have a bright background. But then neither one works alright. I do think that this car would very much benefit from a faster wheel turn. It's just not as responsive enough. Any Assetto Corsa pros here that know which setting to change so that I can turn the wheel faster? I think that's the issue that I have right now, especially for slow corners. It's really bad when the wheel turns so slowly. Not necessarily the best looking trees, but actually I turned down to high. We could go back to ultra. Totally botched that corner. It's not really my focus right now. And so I want to go ultra, FXAA. Guess I'll keep the anti-aliasing as it is. I mean, if the motion blur is subtle, that's what most people want anyways, right? They don't want any completely overdone motion blur that just doesn't look any good. Funnily enough, turning to ultra doesn't really change the frame rate. Look at this. Checking out the controller right now. I feel like the default settings is a bit too unresponsive. Oh god. I feel like the car should be able to turn a little bit faster, but because of the default controller settings, it's not fast enough. Just, you know, how long it takes to turn in the wheels. So I'm not sure which setting I need to change for this. So default control settings might need a bit more adjusting. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the developers don't really spend much time on controller setups. In my opinion, they should though. You wanna know why? If you wanna get more people to check out your game, you need to make it an easy entry. And you know, most people are just gonna plug in their whatever controller into their machine and they wanna try a race, right? So in my opinion, they should spend some time on, you know, for the controller people too. Because eventually, you know, if they really like the game, they're gonna get a wheel, right? Eventually they're gonna get a wheel, so this actually drives a lot better already. A lot of people do not have a steering wheel, but they will have a basic controller, either from their console or their PC gamer anyways, right? Right, I'm not advocating that, you know, controller needs to be the best input device ever, but it should be good enough, you know, kind of like Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo have always done, you know, they had great controller support, obviously, for the console people, but there's still plenty of PC people that only have a controller and obviously keyboard and mouse. But that setting change is already a lot better. Like, I feel like opening up the game to more people is always the right thing to do. Front tire has no pressure. Do I have 2 flats? That's gotta be wrong. There's no way. No way I have 2 flats right now. So the realistic damage is there, but you don't see it yet. Is Laguna Seca broken? Let's find out. I haven't been there yet. Dude, the NPCs are messing up quite badly. Can you actually turn off the damage during races? Because I feel like right now it's just a bunch of opponents ramming me.
How does it feel with controller? I don't know if I want to buy it.
Thoughts on the game so far? I think there's a shit ton of potential for this game. Oh, why is the frame rate so much lower? Oh, the frame rate is half during the night. Is it using ray tracing? What's going on here? Oh, the game does not like night racing FPS wise. I have half the frame rate right now. That's crazy how much performance night races need. And those are some weird looking shadows too. I guess the first negative thing here, you get double the frame rate during the day. Like, I can imagine that a competitive race would always happening during the day, so you don't have to deal with the insane FPS drop now. Was he doing it to the wall, man? Okay, the AI might need a little bit more work. Ah, maybe that's the setting that I wanted. I have no idea what the steering filter is, but it feels better now. A bit disappointing that the frame rate gets demolished at night. I mean, sure, you need to do a lot more lighting work, but that seems like too much of a performance impact for now. Physics are great. Like, this just feels like sim racing. Couldn't tell you if it feels exactly like, you know, Assetto Corsa or Assetto Cars Evo, because I don't play those 2 games very much. But it does, like, the cars behave like I would expect a car to behave. God damn it. I mean, if you look in the right upper corner, there's the Steam one, but it's like 60 FPS right now, but only with 2 cars. Considering how aggressive some of these NPCs are. Why am I rolling backwards? I'm at neutral. There's gotta be a bug, man. Somehow the handbrake was open. So if you're someone that is like, I don't like dlss anyways. Was a memory or something, so restarting might help as well. Oh, you think it has memory leak? A pretty intense frame drop, at least 50%. Night lighting apparently very hard on the game. No visual damage model, but there is a damage model for the car. Definitely took some damage to the point where my car slows down massively, and it also pulls to a side, you know, depending where you have the most damage, left or right. The thing is with the frame rate jitters, sometimes it feels like it eats some of my inputs, so I just don't realize my inputs because of the lag. So in my opinion, this frame rate is too low. Like, a sim below 60 FPS, I mean, it might work if you have like perfect 60 FPS at all times, but if the frame rate ever drops, it becomes really weird to drive. Okay, let's try like, I don't know, some kind of dawn for light setting. Yeah, maybe you have maybe it's the map. Maybe the map is so detailed, because I'm still getting 60 FPS. Yeah, this didn't do anything. Okay, maybe it wasn't the night. Let me restart the game. 70 80 now. Yeah, I think that was a memory leak. I didn't change any more graphic settings. And now the frame rate is higher. Oh yeah, wow, look at this. Embargo is down, yes. I mean, it was down yesterday. I just got the game key too late, or I would have covered it yesterday. I changed the weather, yeah. What if the cloud weather is bugging it? That is true. Dude, these idiots, man. The HUD is laggy. I noticed that immediately too. Like, for some reason, the HUD has a really low frame rate. It's fair to say this is early access. You're gonna notice a lot of tiny things where like, why is that? But it's not a full release, so you can forgive them that, as long as they fix it until the full release, right? I mean, they're probably gonna be collecting feedback left and right anyways. But it was kind of interesting. After playing around with the graphic settings here and there, at some point something broke. Because suddenly the frame rate was suddenly below 60, although I was able to do 100 most of the time. So it might not have been the night. Oh wait, 70? Nah, it's definitely lower. Game has to work harder, but it's better than the previous night race. Dropped below 60 all the time. More cars, more carnage. Okay, I'm definitely relieved that it wasn't the night race that killed the frame rate. Shall we try rain physics? Oh. That might get messy. God, we can turn up the opponents too. Okay, if that doesn't kill the frame rate, I don't know what will. This is some 160 BPM wipers. On my brakes, dude. Ah. Okay, it got better. Maybe it had to load in the assets. Frame rate is back to 100. I mean, obviously you don't have all the cars on the screen anymore, but I would say decent recovery. Why does the road look dry? It does, doesn't it? Like, it's raining, but the road is dry. I mean, I'm not gonna be too critiquing about an early access game that still has half a year of development left. But you know, comparison to a lot of other games on the market, this is not one where we'll say, oh, this will never get better. Quite the opposite, really. I expect this to get a lot better over time. Iron out the bugs, add more features, well, in the end. I think the best thing most people can do right now is get it immediately, just to, you know, support development. And it's gonna be cheaper, right? Like, if you're someone that is planning on buying this anyways, might as well buy it now. And I get some money for developing the rest of the game. See, that's what I find a little bit problematic. Right, it is early access and people expect probably a little bit too much from it. I mean, sure, you can rank the game right now as it is. And I bet a lot of people are doing it. But probably not the fairest thing. But who knows, maybe it gives the devs the motivation, a kick in the ass to keep pushing for more. I can tell you one thing, the game definitely has a memory leak after a while. Like, the same graphic settings earlier gave me less than 60 FPS with no changes whatsoever, so after a while, when you notice frame drops, you're gonna have to restart the game. I think it might start to happen again. I'm not sure if it gets triggered by me tabbing out of the game or just a certain amount of time passing. Lots of people having technical issues. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I usually have less often to fight with is like technical things, because I have a very powerful system, I know that. So sometimes, you know, I can basically pay myself out of trouble, you know what I mean? For example, Test Drive Unlimited, dog shit optimized. I still managed to get 60 FPS out of it, right? And most people could not. So when I see a new game running okay-ish on my system, I immediately think, if my PC struggles to get above 60 FPS, I cannot imagine how it is for a lot of other people that do not have a 4080, right? Like, I'm not delusional in that department. Definitely understand that not everyone has a $2,000-3,000 Euro gaming PC. Can definitely feel the damage on my card. It's not really controllable anymore. The Honda S2000, not from 2000. Close enough. Wouldn't be the first time that someone releases a product that is dated for the follow-up year. I think TVs do that, for example. Like I know if I want to update my TV, it's gonna tell me, oh, this is the 2026 model. Or if you buy it in December, right, it's gonna give you the next year's model. No, actually, it's on Instant Gaming for 20 bucks right now, 23 bucks. Like very, very cheap access to the game right now. So if you want to see more Assetto Cars from me in the future, hit the follow button if you haven't already. Also allows you to chat in the stream. You know, some people say, man, this is just like Forza Motorsport, an unfinished game. Yeah, but Forza Motorsport is kind of done. You know what I mean? Like the game is not going to change much anymore. This, on the other hand, is going to see many more months of dedicated development and community involvement. So at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a much better game. You know, while they could disappoint us, I don't think they will. Can you imagine? Can you imagine after 8 years of content creation? It is actually my 8-year anniversary. Started January 2017. That I would have to get to a regular job? Man, I don't wanna. I don't want to. The initial controller settings that they give you are not that amazing in my opinion, but at least they give you the options to adjust it yourself. My car now is a lot more responsive. So in my opinion, the developers should spend some time dialing in at least, you know, the common controllers, you know, a PlayStation controller, an Xbox controller, hell, even a Switch Pro controller. Although I think that might be a very small overlap. Shall we snap them? I don't think I even can hit them. Yeah, too far away. Crash! I feel like you would hear a lot more from the cars in front of you. I don't know if you've ever been to an F1 event or MotoGP and you have those cars driving by you, or bikes. It is deafening, especially when you look at their exhausts, right? If their exhausts are pointed at you, it gets really loud. I feel like if I would be sitting in this car, I would hear the other cars a lot, being behind so many Camaros. So for the sound fanatics, you know, that might be a bother. Basic physics. Yeah, but if you've never been at a race event, you might not, you know, think about stuff like this, you know, if the exhaust is pointing at you. I mean, in everyday life, I don't really see very many loud cars in Vienna. But hey, I'm good. Whoops. I think I'm gonna go away from this game today with a positive attitude for the future of this. But to be honest, I was a bit lazy at covering Assetto Cars mods in the first place, so I actually might backtrack a little until this game fully releases and check out some of the sexy mods for Assetto Corsa. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. I think I saw Dustin play... yeah, I saw him play a Gran Turismo mod for Assetto Corsa. That looked like fun. Then I've seen No Hezi. Basically... traffic dodge simulator. Yeah, like depending on the class you're racing in. But imagine 60-degree cockpit for an entire race. It's crazy. Like you need to be in top shape to basically survive a sauna while racing a car. So yeah, people wanted it, people got it. Day-night transition. I mean, I turned on dynamic weather, but I don't think it's gonna suddenly rain. One thing that we did notice earlier is that you don't really notice when it's raining. Like, the ground doesn't really look that wet. You know what I'm missing? Free look. I hope that feature gets added. So far you can look left, right, and you can look backwards. A roadmap somewhere. True. I mean... you don't really need it, but you're right, I feel like for a lot of people a minimap that shows you, because not everyone is a pro at racetracks, right? They might not know the layout of Imola and other popular racetracks. Kinda agree with you there, not having a minimap is a bit strange. You know, another reason why they stopped doing damage models, people care more about the inclusion of more cars. Right, and if they have to choose between more cars and a damage model, it's usually more cars. I don't know if you ever thought about it that way. But right, every development team has a limited amount of time. So usually they will do the things on the highest priority list. So even if the brands would allow a more extensive damage model, it might not help you at all. Because if the fans want more cars, and most of the time the number one thing people ask for is new tracks and new cars, right? Like content that is relevant to people is usually new tracks and new cars. Then, you know, maybe new game modes if they can think of something cool. Right, like some multiplayer expansion. How much do you pay for this one? It's a nice looking Lotus. I want one, but I don't think it's gonna be a good family car. Alexa's yesterday, actually. I got my key a little bit too late. Look at my wheel, man. That's what I need to do to counter steer the broken the broken car right now. Right, like this, like 5 to 10 degrees, just to go straight. Ooh, how about a graphics comparison between this game and Drive Club? Last combustion engine Lotus. Wait, is Lotus also going all electric? Damn. I mean, eventually every car brand is gonna go that way. Because I mean, obviously, all but a few, but fuel is not gonna get much cheaper. It's one of the resources that is running out. Man, this car is trashed. It's so broken. You don't see it, but I mean, I guess you can see it on the bottom. The red blinking everywhere. The future for petrol-powered cars is pretty grim. Like, it would need some true innovation. Some, you know, cheaply produced biofuel of some kind that can compete with electricity pricing, because at the end of the day, people struggle for money, one way or another. Like, money that you spend one place, you cannot spend in another, right? We all have our resources every month. So, yeah, the majority of people are always going to choose the cheapest option, and as long as electricity is cheaper than a fuel-powered car, then that's what they're going to do. Some people just enjoy, you know, less maintenance. Hydrogen I hear so little about, I cannot imagine it being, you know, ready for the market anytime soon, you know what I mean? Like, sure, you hear about electric cars all the time, biofuel sometimes, but hydrogen? Honestly, I hear nothing about hydrogen cars. To a point where I personally have given up on it. E for the regular boring SUV people and such, and petrol for the car enthusiast. I mean, sure, but I can totally imagine, let's say a lot of people, say a lot of people have an electric car in the city, and then they're like, oh, we don't want petrol cars anymore because it pollutes the air. Right? You can create electricity in one place, dirty the air up there, and then, you know, put electricity in the city, and then it's clean, right? At least for the city. Alright, that's it for me and Assetto Corsa today. Pretty good. Sales are still offline though. Like, the next time I'm gonna be here is when the academy is open, but you need online for that, and I think dealership too? Customization, I'm not sure. Some of the features are bound to the servers. And I guess that's another critique point for a lot of people, that they need online sometimes. Yeah, that I don't understand either. You know, I would understand that, you know, you would need online for like buying stuff so people don't cheat their progress or something, but that's their job to figure out, right? Appreciate you guys as always. Sleep tight. Do come back tomorrow for more, and good night. Bye bye.